They say when one door closes, it is caused by the draft from opportunity. Well, last night I had a door slam shut when I learned that Penelope Herbert of the Underdog Marketing Challenge, our major sponsor, could not be here tonight, and she was also to be the presenter. And she is written up in your program as the presenter. But the opportunity for me and you is to hear of some real innovative marketing strategies from Robyn O'Connell, who has graciously agreed to step in on such short notice. Robyn is a marriage and funeral celebrant, and you may wonder what she may have to say that you would all want to hear. Well, let me tell you, Robyn really thinks outside the square when it comes to marketing her business. Her use of the media, journalism and joint ventures has gained her incredible success by giving her a unique point of difference. Robyn was a judge for these awards and therefore knows how exciting and dynamic your marketing strategies were. You all have a lot in common. Make sure you talk to her before you go home tonight. Please welcome Robyn O'Connell.
Thanks, Barb. Barb rang me last night and she sounded just a little distressed. In fact, I'd say very distressed, and asked me whether I would fill in. And I said, oh, sure, no worries at all. What do you want me to talk about? She then proceeded to give me 5 different topics, and she said, you've got 5 minutes. So I'm going to give you a minute a topic, and hopefully you might just gain something from this tonight. As Barb said, I'm a marriage and funeral celebrant, but my specialty is funerals, and to enhance my work, I also wrote a book called What Happens When You Die, which explains death to children. This had an ongoing effect for my families that I work with when I was able to present one of my books to them. When I go in and meet a family and I present them with a book to help their family go through a difficult time, they immediately look at the front of the book and they go, oh, you wrote this. And therein builds a trust. If she can write a book, then perhaps she can write the life story of the one that we love so much. So it was just a side benefit. It was really there because my passion is children and grief, and I really wanted them to understand what happens when you die. What does the coroner do? What does a funeral director do? Why do we have that party after a funeral? So there were flow-on benefits from that. I work closely with funeral directors, and so I basically have a joint venture with them, because when I explain to new celebrants what it's like to begin in funeral celebrancy, I say, when you stand up there, they don't go away and say, I went to this funeral and Robyn O'Connell was crap. They go away and they say, I went to this funeral at such and such a funeral company and it was crap. So funeral directors take a big risk in even allowing you to do a funeral for them. So I had to work closely with funeral directors to develop a strong relationship with them, because equally as much as I represent them, they also represent me. So there are a few funeral companies, which will remain nameless, who I won't work with because I don't like people who don't have clean shoes and tidy hair and all that sort of stuff, because that reflects on me. Barb mentioned about the media. Every Christmas, some of you might hear on different radio stations me talking about how to deal with death of someone that they love at Christmas time for the first time. This is something that I do purely as Robyn O'Connell, not as a celebrant, not promoting my business, purely as something so that the community can benefit from perhaps a few ideas that I've got that they can benefit from. The result of that has been a flow-on effect where, because they knew of my interest in grief and my interest in children, you know, like when the tsunamis happened, the ABC rang me and said, can we get you on straight away to talk to people about how to deal with their children when something like this happens. The radio thing I love, absolutely love. Hate TV, you can see why, but you know, radio's good. They can't see who I am. And that's coming from someone who stands up in front of people every single day of the week, but never mind. So they have been very gracious with me and invited me back at different times. I send out media releases and I get something like a 75% return, which is amazing given that my niece has a PR company and she says, how in the hell did you do that? But the difference, I think, is that I'm not promoting my company. I do not say I'm Robyn O'Connell from Silver Celebrants. I'm Robyn O'Connell and I'm a funeral celebrant who specialises in particular areas of grief. Networking is another way. I presented at the MCEI conference as part of a panel, and from that conference I was asked to speak at the AUSIT AGM, which is the Australian Interpreters and Translators Association. From speaking at that AGM, they are now talking to me about me running a day for their interpreters on how to handle grief in their work. Networking works. Branding. It's not just your business that people remember. They remember the little things. The amount of people who come back to me several days after a funeral, I write to the families and just thank them for the opportunity of celebrating that person's life for them and for them to share that such a personal journey with me. And the amount of people who write back to me after that and say, thank you for thinking of me afterwards. After you've actually been paid, gone on to other things, you've still thought enough after all the hype to think of me, and I really appreciate that. Sometimes we have to look outside the square. Sometimes we have to look at what you do when you go about your business. How involved are you in the community? I'm on the National Board of Rainbows, which is a program for grief program for children in schools. How much do you do in your own community that then flows on? I find a huge amount flows on from my involvement. I was on the board of directors of a credit union. I've done lots of things for the benefit of the community, but in turn, it's also benefited me. So just think about what your community involvement is. And it's not just a matter of writing out a cheque for someone, but it's actually doing something. So hopefully some of those little tips might just help you. As a judge, I said, I've never been a judge before and I was terrified, to be honest. But you see it on TV and everybody says, oh, gosh, it was so hard and all the rest of it, and you go, oh yeah, sure, And suddenly you're faced with all these amazing people putting in entries that just about blew my mind away, and you're sort of like, well, which do you think? And you go, oh, how do you choose between such quality entries of different people doing different things? So congratulations to each one of you that just have made the finals, because just to do that is amazing. I know just in my own experience of having my own business, and I was in the awards last year, the amazing amount of people who make comment when they come into my place, and I've got it hanging on the wall along with the other 50,000 certificates that, no, not really, but there's only a couple, that they actually comment on, oh, you've been in awards, or when they Google me, and then the awards come up of MCEI as well, The flow and benefits are great, so use them to your advantage, put them on your website, tell people about them. It's a really good marketing idea. There we go. So I think it's that time, isn't it, Barbara? How exciting.